Hi, welcome. On this video, I want to take a couple minutes to talk about how I deal with everything that's happening in the dog training world. How I actually respond to it. Again, attempting to find the right balance. Knowing that social media, and here's the thing, and I encourage anyone dealing with this type of thing to consider what I'm saying. Social media can be a tremendous distraction, okay? Understand there's people out there on social media, that's all they do is dog trainers. They're not even, I mean, I look at people like Zach George, I'm saying this guy is not even, I don't even see where he's even, interacting with dogs. And then when you do see him interacting with dogs, it's just totally superficial, bribery based. And so, again, I've always said that there's a reason why trainers are showing you certain things, and there's a reason why they're not. Okay, this gets into this issue about transparency, all the lies, all how these trainers are misrepresenting everything. And so understand that there's this layers up, okay? And so when I'm, putting out video content, okay, the best videos to look at on my YouTube channel to really get a really good idea as to this system of training. I talk about, influence and control, the Board and Train series videos. And I even have more videos on my member area option. I encourage you to check that out for those who are seeking answers. Okay, and that's the other thing is that, and I go right back to my own journey years ago, okay? And this is where I always kind of remind myself, okay, when I'm dealing with social media and those who are acting a certain way about things or leaving comments, all this stuff. Listen, nobody had to hold my hand and drag me towards the truth. Okay? I mean, I'm talking back in 1993, 1994, police canine, and wanting to know, okay? So if someone's standing there, like wanting to freely give me, answers in time, I'll take them out to lunch. I mean, I'm going to do whatever because I want to know. And see, that's the thing here to understand the dog training world. You have to get to that point of understanding that, we're in such a state that if you can throw pearls to swine, but they're going to trample all over that. And that's not meant to, be derogatory or label people as swine. I'm quoting scripture here a little bit because I'm going to talk about this thing on a spiritual level. So it's like, people that find value in what you have to say, one, say, a 30-second video, if they're seeking answers, will change their whole journey in their life. Period. They'll change their whole journey in their life. If they're truly willing to and wanting and desiring to know, and that way. That's it. Okay, that's really the bottom line here with all of it, is that, but for those who don't want to know and those who are turned over to this stuff, you could sit there 1,000 years and they're going to keep arguing with you and they'll waste your time. Okay, and this gets in the spiritual aspect of people that waste your time. Okay, people that not only are they in their own mess, and this is the hypocrisy of everything, they'll lie, they'll go on, because it's not about any of that way. Okay, this is the stronghold. Okay, I talk about what's going on in the dog training world as a type of stronghold spiritually, because it is. Okay, so, you have to be wise and discerning as to, how you're going to invest your time and energy into what you're doing. And so you have to find that balance, because if you don't do that, and then if you let pride come into the mix, right? And this is the core issue in the dog training world, so much as pride and arrogance, because that plays into this whole thing with appearances and exploitation, misrepresentation. You can be part of that rigged game, and and define success that way. But ethically and morally, it's totally bankrupt. Okay, and don't get me wrong, there's people out there. There's thousands of people out there doing that right now in the dog training world. That's how bad things are. That's just a fact. Okay, so for me, it's always been about my personal journey and helping a few along the way who are looking for answers. That's it. And so, and here's the other thing. So when I go on social media, and this is where, and understand that when people look at what I do and how I respond, oftentimes, they're looking at it through a lens of their own selfish motives where they've already sold out, crossed lines. And so for them, with how they, when they look at me, because a lot of these people have never even met me in person. They have no clue about me that way because they don't care about people like that. They really don't. All these people are very just self-focused individuals. And so for them, they're trying to assess my motives through their own, bad motives, right? And so this is why they'll go in, and as soon as they look at your videos, because of the state of the dog training world, to say, oh, he's got X number of subscribers. That's their true standard, right? Because they've already sold out. They're already corrupted. Okay, that's just how bad it is in the dog training world. So, so my thing here is understand that, when I've even done my Flipping the Script series, just so people know where I'm coming from, I'm putting out information for the public. Okay, these trainers, they've already sold out. They're already part of the game. They're selling a product, right? And my thing between, at times I've just removed things and they've taken a victory lap over that, because for them, they don't care about wanting to know what the truth is anyway about any of this stuff, or what's really going on. So if you do certain things, they'll see it as a victory, and this is why they'll go after each other at a personal level. Like they just, all they care about is shutting people down or destroying people. It's not about the truth that way. Okay, it's just about how they can elevate themselves and become more popular, and it's nothing to do with any of that. Like, you have to understand, like, once you start to step back, see what's going on here in the dog training world, you'll start to see that. So, so the dog training world is morally and ethically bankrupt. Okay, you have to understand, based on what is being marketed. I talk about that. That's at the core of all of it, and all the collateral damage. That's why these trainers, they won't connect dots. Okay, they don't want to. When I went on Miracle Canine, you go watch that, discussion I had. It's like these trainers, they will not audit, they won't look at any of it, because to do so puts them in a position they're not going to go. I mean, they've already written their books, they put their videos up. Do you honestly believe they're willing, they can say whatever they want, they're willing to walk this back or change or humble themselves, right? If you're a prideful person, especially a lot of these trainers, they're not going to do that. It takes, you gotta be willing to humble yourself and make the trade-off. I mean, think about what I'm saying. Years ago, when I asked the questions that need to be asked of myself, I was seeking, my identity was through the police canine and all that. There's a point in that where I actually said of myself, I said, if we're doing something wrong here, what is going on? And I hadn't aligned myself through that ideology that way to help other people. Okay, I started off within that framework somewhat, but with the relationship with Ruben, kind of blew through that in a way to a level where I actually had to kind of like reverse engineer it all to say, okay, what's going on here? And so people have no clue when they talk about me. Understand, these people don't know me. They're basing everything off of looking through the lens of their ideology. That's it. And so whatever comments they make or have to say, that's all it's about. So that's why I don't waste my time, because number one, you got to want to know. Okay, you got to want it. And I can't help anyone with that, okay? I mean, and there's a few people out there that want to do that, but then you got to humble yourself. You got to be willing to make the trade-off if you've already are identifying a certain way. So, I break everything down. Understand, I go through everything. So, but all to say about how I deal with things, social media, understand that I have a life, okay? I was down in Melbourne yesterday at an HOA meeting. I'm around doing this. Why? Oh, Dale does videos in his car. Yeah, because a lot of time I got a dog coming in today full time for about a week and a half. And you'll see him. Cooper's coming back for some refresher training. His owners, they're making a trip somewhere, so it was a good opportunity to do that with the service dog. So you'll see lots of me and Cooper here coming up. But all to say that a lot of these individuals, they're just caught up in debate and argument, and and I've said this before, that when you get down to the center of all this stuff, and just like when I had a conversation years ago with a balanced trainer who's out there, he's popular, he does podcasts. When I challenged them as to, okay, here's what it is, He didn't want to hear it, right? Because he said, he goes, I'm not looking for some guru. See, that's the problem here, is if there's truth, right? If there is a process, that means that I can't keep doing what I'm doing. There is truth. It means I can't just keep, making it work out so I can do, and that's what it was. I'm going to do what I want to do. And no one's going to tell me, because the truth, see, that's the problem here. And think about it, doesn't even make sense. Like, someone's going to be right and wrong here. Think about everything. Look at, I put out some videos here recently. Look at the mess of the dog training world. See, this is how corrupt things can get and how bad off people can get and this is a really good or bad example of the human, the broken, fallen human, totally corrupted to a level at which, like, dogs are taking hit like crazy, and we're pretending like we get all the answers. Talk about pride. I mean, this is a joke. It's a sad joke. So I just want to do this video so people know a little bit more where I'm coming from, because if you see how I respond on social media, sometimes it's not what you think it is. Sometimes it's just like, I'm just let it come apart. I'm still, from the beginning, I'm still continuing to help dogs and owners because I care about dogs and owners the right way. This noise that's going on in the background with all these trainers, because that's all it is, they're spinning their wheels. They're continuing to market this garbage. They're blaming dogs. They're continuing, and I'm not part of that. Never have been. I'm not part of that world, so I can't stay in that world long, okay, and debate and go on with these individuals, because it's a waste of time, because people have to see it, okay? So my encouragement, any dog owners out there that are watching my stuff, understand that's where I'm coming from. I'm here to help people. These trainers, they're just exploiting everything, and the lies and the contradictions, and it's just so nasty and vile. That's where we're at. These are, talk about narcissism. This narcissism out of control in the dog training world. You want, go pull out the characteristics of I'll do a video on this ideology itself. You go through, you can check those 14 boxes based on appearances, false narratives, devaluation. You go through, I've done it. You go through, it's unbelievable. And so because people are buying this stuff because they're telling people what they want to hear. Okay, you're going to a dog trainer because of the fact you're experiencing a relationship problem, because dogs are more than just appearance. Dogs are social animals. So how you connect, how you think at that level, that matters. And so, it all matters. But these trainers are just like, it's like a type of prosperity gospel. It has no power in it. But it's going to be very appealing from, initially, because it's all about you. Okay, it's not about you changing. True change. It's not about that. Okay, so these trainers, that's what they're doing. They're working all the angles at the detriment of dogs and owners. It's a rigged game, but don't take my word for it. Here's the thing that before people even leave a single comment on one of my videos about what I'm saying, once you go and spend the time and look around Zach George and all these controversies going on, and look at all the comments. I just did a video here, put in a video about all the comments. Just look at the device. Look at, you should be starting there first before you even say anything. Say, what the hell is going on? That's it. And take a month off from social media, or 2 months, or a year even, and ask and sit down and apply some critical thinking. That's what people should be doing. I mean, the people who have the most to say are the very ones that shouldn't be saying anything. Period. So I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day.